All right, thank you guys all so much for submitting your questions about the wave and the lottery, the permit process, all of that. We got a lot of kind of similar questions about how to go about getting that permit, so we figured we would just come on via video and talk through it a bit. So basically, the wave, that iconic formation, is one of many formations within the North Coyote Buttes area, which is within Vermilion Cliffs National Monument in Arizona. So it's northern Arizona, it's right on the border with Utah, so that's why typically, you'll start your trip in Utah and then you'll hike actually into Arizona over the course of the wave hike. But anyway, so the permit process for North Coyote Buttes, which includes the wave, is very complicated. Well, it's not that complicated, it's just, it's a simple process, but it just takes a lot to actually be lucky enough to win a permit.
Many people apply and very few people get it. So
Yeah.
It can take many, many tries to get a permit.
Yeah, so they only give out a maximum of 64 people to visit the wave each day. And so because it's such a highly coveted location, those permits, they all get grabbed, right? So there's two ways to go about entering the lottery. The first is an advanced lottery where you go onto recreation.gov, and 4 months in advance of the month that you want to attend, you apply for this advanced lottery. And you can pick 3 days in that month. You only get to pick 3, so you can't just be like, I want to go in for the lottery for every day of that month. No, you have to pick 3. So we were kind of strategic in what we chose. We picked weekdays in January because we knew that winter is the least touristy time in that area, and that more people are going to be looking to go on weekends than on weekdays. So we were thinking, okay, a weekday will be our best chances. We had been applying for this permit in advance via the online lottery going on 3 years now. We just kind of had been applying every single month. Anytime that we had also been in the southern Utah area, we would go for the in-person lottery. Now this in-person lottery is now also done online, but it's done with a geocache, meaning that you still physically have to be quite close to Kanab or Page to be able to apply for this geocache lottery. So this geocache lottery is 2 days in advance of the day that you would want to hike. So it's not as far in advance as the online lottery, and so it's a little bit more last minute. And we were able to get our permit finally after over 25 times of trying via the advanced lottery. We had applied for it in the fall for this upcoming January, and the day that we won was January 17th. And so that's basically the permit process in a nutshell. The other important thing to know is that if you win the permit online in advance, they are going to mail you a physical permit. It's a bright pink permit, and that is what you need to actually go to the wave. One of the other questions that we got was whether you actually have to have a guide to visit the wave. And strictly speaking, no, you definitely do not. People go to the wave every single day and they do not bring a guide with them. And our original plan was to go without a guide and do it ourselves. The thing that's kind of tricky about the wave, aside from the fact that the hike is not super well marked and you do need to have a bit of wayfinding capabilities and experience to get to the wave, the road going in is a dirt road that's known for getting quite rough when they've had any sort of precipitation. It gets really deeply rutted, it's muddy, sloppy, the ground is like this clayish, and so when it gets wet, it just kind of like eats anything that comes into it.
This is our third winter here. Winter 1, the roads were great. Everything was dry and we could drive our Ford Escape, no problem, all-wheel drive. And last year, our Sprinter, four-wheel drive, no problem. This year, with the moisture, there's
so much snow.
Deep mud. It's turned into a clay and mud, and we've seen people stuck. I had to help push a guy out. So the roads are tricky.
Yeah, and so one of our friends is a guide to the wave, and she had gone the Sunday prior to the Tuesday that we were going. So she gave us a road report for that Sunday and basically said it was super sloppy, and we used that information to decide, okay, our van, even though it has four-wheel drive and high clearance, it's so long that going through some of those ruts, our butt would basically end up getting stuck coming out of some of those deep ruts on the road. So we absolutely made the right decision in deciding to go with a guide. because on the way out we realized like our van would have certainly gotten stuck. You don't need a guide. We took one in this specific case because of the road conditions, and it was absolutely the right decision. Another benefit of going with a guide, the guides will also take you to some of the other formations within North Coyote Buttes, a couple of arches, dinosaur footprints.
And the guides also educate on the hike in telling you about, you know, how the sandstone was formed and the history of it. It's really cool just to learn that, which you won't get without a guide.
We went with Dreamland Safari. Full disclosure, we are working with them on some social media posts. They hosted us on this tour in exchange for some reels and grid posts that we haven't yet posted, but just for transparency. Typically the tour prices, depending on which company you go with, range from like $200 per person and up, so they're not cheap, right? But one thing that you'll hear or read a lot when researching the wave is that if House Rock Valley Road, which is that road that gets super sloppy when there's any moisture, a lot of people will say online, if it's been raining or snowing in the days leading up to your wave hike, the road is impassable and you cannot go. This is not strictly true. We wouldn't recommend it if you have an all-wheel drive vehicle or two-wheel drive vehicle. You should go with a guide, but talking to the tour guides, it's a point of pride that they can get to these places.
But I would not bring my all-wheel drive down that road, and certainly not a two-wheel drive. That's the guy that got stuck and we had to push him out.
Yeah, so that's another good reason to go with a guide. If there's any chance that the road's going to be sloppy or wet while you're there, that's a good way to maximize your chances of getting to go. Some of the other questions we got about the lottery, how does the lottery system work? It is completely random, so it's not like you get extra credit if you've applied 25 times in a row or anything. Like, you know, we've been trying for years and had gotten quite used to, like, I call it my monthly rejection email from recreation.gov, where it's like, sorry, you didn't get one.
We met an older couple the last night there that said they had been applying for 10 years. Now, only 1 or 2 times a year, so they've applied maybe 10 or 12 times. We applied 25 times before we got it. So, and others get it on their first try, and they're just, you know, it's the luck of the draw.
Your tour company, and Dreamland Safaris in particular, can do something called a conditional tour, where you book a tour and they will apply on your behalf into that geocache lottery. So you yourself can still be in Chicago or wherever you live making your way to Utah, and they can apply on your behalf. And what they'll do is, if you get a lottery permit for the wave, awesome, that's where they'll take you. If you don't, what they'll do is put you on alternatives. So they'll try for South Coyote Buttes, which is another permit area. It's super amazing, very unique. Not a lot of people know about it. It's much easier to get permits for. There's some incredible formations there. Another place they'll take you possibly is White Pocket. And so they have lots of really epic tours that they'll take you on in the event that you don't actually get a permit for the wave. And so that's called the conditional tour.
And the Vermilion Cliffs are full of beauty and different spots. Having applied 25 times, had lots of opportunities to not get the wave and go explore the other stuff. And it's fantastic.
They're all fantastic.
Highlights.
Yeah, so you really can't go wrong. So that's a really good option in our opinion. Like, going with a tour company does not exclude you from the permit process. You still have to get one of those permits in your name, and the tour company can stand in for you geographically, you know, to help you get that permit, but they're beholden to the same lottery as everyone else. So just because you book a tour does not guarantee you a spot on the wave, which is why they have those backup options. One person asked if it's possible to hike close enough to the wave without a permit and still be able to see the formation. No, there's not. The permit area itself starts about a mile into the hike, and it's a 3-mile one-way hike. So by the time you get into the edge of where a permit is required, you're still 2 miles out from the wave, and you've got these big buttes and formations that would completely obstruct
you can't see the wave unless you're in the wave. Like, we knew where the wave was walking out and we could see the area, but we didn't actually see the formation and the beauty until you're in it. It's a very protected.
And you also cannot fly drones in that area, so you can't stand outside the permit area and fly your drone in to see it. We hope this information is helpful for you. We are going to be writing a very detailed blog post about all of this, and so that's going to be coming in like 2 weeks or so. And in the meantime, if you have other questions, reach out. We're happy to talk about it. This was definitely one of the coolest experiences of our lives.
Once in a lifetime, core memories forever. Freaking love that place.
Yeah, and so we love talking about it. So whatever questions you have, send them our way, because we love talking about this day because it was so freaking cool. So that's all. Thanks.